Alright, so this is Matt with Cargo Lights. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough. It's pretty much the worst day of the year for it. Biggest snowstorm we have. Generally on an annual basis, this is the worst it gets, and there's wind. So anyway, so I have a Press Here for Music sign. It's been huge this year actually. So this is all enclosed. You can see I've actually unplugged it because of the snow, but there's a cord over there. So this has an FM radio in it, as well as a 200-watt amp and a delayed relay board. So it turns on for 4 minutes when you hit the button, and then runs to these outdoor speakers that are buried in the snow over here. So they're upside down right now, it looks like, but that's because the connections that kept them out of the snow a little longer. Just some Dayton Audio outdoor speakers. The Mega Tree is every inch of 20 feet to the top, and then the star is 4 feet, so 24 feet to the top of the star. I have guy lines that run into these anchor points that you can't see. These are the type that screw into the ground, and if you notice, there's also this. It's actually just a bike lock locking these speakers just so someone can't walk off with them. Next year the plan is to mount those about 10 feet up on the pole in the middle of the Mega Tree. Let's see, it's 2-inch spacing, 24 strands, which I'd kind of like to bring up to 32 I think next year. You can see they're pretty far apart at the bottom. Sorry, I'm traipsing through the snow here. And so it's actually suspended by, maybe you can see it up there, just a big pulley that has this crank on it. I need to replace, this is just straps for this year because that cable is not long enough. I need to either replace that with a cable or put a longer cable on the pulley for next year. This is a K8, I think this is the K8B. 2 power supplies running off wireless. I had some wireless issues. I had to put together a separate show network this year. This was one of my attempts. I moved that out for a little bit. Didn't help, so I can remove that, but also quite a bit of power injection because I run 5-volt. You can also see, so this is actually a 2-inch steel pipe that's there. It's 8 feet into the ground. It doesn't go anywhere, but I put this black ABS pipe up and put hose clamps on it and just put it up in 5-foot sections. So if that cable that holds it up were ever to fail, it just sits on this pipe. So there's no risk of it ever collapsing, even if there's catastrophic failure. It's probably overkill, but that's kind of how I do things. The base to this is actually the same thing as those arches in the front. If I can clear it, sorry about the snow. So these are 3D printed arch bases, and this is 1-inch pegs. So it's pretty basic, just runs around, but it has to have a lot of anchors. It might be a little weak. It's done the job this year. I may look into redoing it next year. The arches are pretty basic, 1-inch pegs with strip inside. These are Biscoyo mini candy canes. These are all run from a differential receiver over here. All my receivers are in dumb mode. I don't chain any of them. You can see there's the AC power strap to the top. Try to keep it kind of out of the snow. But yeah, the connections, a couple of Biscoyo singing bulbs. These posts I have 6 of, only 2 got up this year. They're stripped and I have a lot of problems with them, so I'm not sure I'll keep them. The Tune 2 sign here is just 4 P5 panels. There's the Culp, what's it called, Octo Plus I think, inside here, and a wireless adapter. There's a Cat 5 connection here if I need it, but as is I just need 110 to that, same as the Tune 2 sign. Mini trees, they're 3D printed parts. I think there are 120 lights in the trees, plus 16 in the star. These are actually a wood base that's been painted. It's a PVC here, and then this wood base, I have just one hole and I drive a landscaping stake, it's like a tent stake, through there, and it holds them more than fine. We had 70 mile per hour gusts of wind this year and everything held. These are the Buscoyo full-sized candy canes, the 99 node ones, whatever they're called. These are on conduit, and then I have, I don't know if you can see it, I can see it. So there's a little hole there, and a zip tie, and then a landscaping staple, and that keeps them from spinning in the wind. Over here, I had to add an additional Tune To sign. One's with this size of a display, people couldn't always see it. So this is the Holiday Coro Tune To sign because I could get it here quickly. Permatrack up in the eaves and around some of the windows. This window, and then the one way up there, and the one way up on the garage over there, all have Permatrack around them, so I don't have to redo that. These are all just attached with hot glue. Hard to see here. Somewhere along here, there are globs of hot glue holding these strips on. And that's everything that's holding those. Most of these are up with hot glue. In fact, all of these you're looking at here are attached with hot glue and some 3D printed brackets, which are hard to see with all the snow. But they're actually brackets designed for the neodymium magnets, which you can see there's a disc there, that's from the Halloween display, before I realized hot glue would work better. I have paint that matches the stucco, so I'll paint that. Another differential receiver here, running the stuff on this end of the house. There's, I mean, around the door again, put up with hot glue. Around this window is hot glue. This isn't actually a window, there's no bottom to it. The plan was to run along this for next year. I actually am rethinking that. If I'm gonna switch and use this, I'll buy quite a few more, obviously, but then I can map snowflake effects from sequences and put it on those, not snowflake, sorry, icicle effects from sequences onto those, and give me kind of a nice effect in the middle of the house if I run that along there. And then these pillars are wider than those, so I need to get something obviously a little wider to fill that in. Let's see, so the main controller is in here, just inside the bench on the porch. It's a K16AB. That's my only larger power supply. It's a 480 watt instead of the 300 watt. And then the FM transmitter, just a ScienceTech, the ST7C. It's got way more than enough power. I have to run it on low. And this is just power injection. It's just a power supply in there. Because I realized I didn't have enough power to run everything. You can see the wiring's kind of a mess right now. I ran out of time this year, so things got kind of slapped up. There's another differential receiver buried in the snow here, right there, that runs the Matrix and the big prop in the middle, the Mother of All Reeds now, or it was the two singing faces in October. Again, those, all the smaller ones are up with hot glue. You notice the Mother of All Reeds, I had to build a frame. I did the same thing with the big singing pumpkins in Halloween. So I built a half-inch EMT frame with some 3D printed brackets that sits all the weight, and then there are neodymium magnets at the top that hold it over against the house. So it just pulls down. There's nothing, no screws or anything, not even zip ties. The matrices are just carabiners, so I can take this down. This one just carries over. The big 8-foot one just swings around because it's connected here, and they can just sit right here kind of in the flower bed, and we can get in and out of this. We don't use this side of the garage much though. This side I've got open so we can get through. This is the one we primarily use in the winter because over there's the convertible in the car. The Snowflake again is just on carabiners. Just the cords just run through here, just swings around, set it down here, drive in and out. Here, this is a K8PB, another controller box. This one's running almost nothing. I intend to add a lot more over here, so it's just here for future proofing. And this doesn't run through it yet because it's indoors and it didn't matter. And so, but I had a lot of trouble with the wireless connection. This side of the garage is really strange. Everything I put over here has trouble with connections, and then I had other problems with the mesh network. These pole trees, this one's about 10 feet to the top, and then the 2-foot star. You can see they're kind of a mess. We got those 70-mile-an-hour winds, and I didn't have guy lines, just the extra strips on the back, and it didn't hold. So also there's a big area here I can't put stakes in the ground. I didn't know, but there are some big steel tiles over where a trench was dug, so I'll have to rethink that for next year, especially since I want to double the number of strips on that. This one also sagged a little, the middle one. The smaller one seems to have fared okay, so it probably doesn't need much. But yeah, this just has cables that run through here to the garage. That controller's running these little stars, the snowflake, and those pole trees, and that's it for now. I wanted to run lights up along the edge of the roof, didn't have time. I have C9 pixels that I want to run up along the top of that ridge, and especially on the right side. Again, ran out of time this year, so those are on the list. There's a big gap here to the left of the garage that needs filled. I have an EFL snowman with a waving arm that could fill some of that. I'll figure it out next year. But I think that's it for how it's set up. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. See you guys next year.